Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Assalamu alaikum. This is Mohammed Zaman again. We're gonna do a little complex, which is one of the key thing in AI is something called RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation. And you might have heard that already, but if you have not, just go to Google and find out Retrieval Augmented Generation and or RAG AI. So you will find a lot more details. So what is RAG and basic stuff. We talked about that before. What RAG essentially does is you take a document or you take a source of data that you have, and people can answer the questions, and you kind of like get the data only from that document. And this is really the retrieval augmented generation's core things. So what happens is that you have a lot of like customer support people, and you have a lot of employees. They are answering the question because they know it's in their head, or some of them are documented because it's in a SOP or standard operating procedure. So using that analogy is, I have to know something, then I can answer. Does that make sense? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna build we're gonna start building it very straightforward way, very simplistic way. Then you can build upon that on top of it. And there are a few tools that we're gonna be talking about today, which is gonna be the vector database as well as keeping something in the memory and such. Okay. So let's start in a very simple way, a chat trigger. So I'm gonna start with the chat trigger. And that's simple because this is how I want to start it. And again, if you are new to this one, I'm using N8N to build this particular workflow, and you already know I can take this particular chat and I'm actually can make it publicly available if I want to, but for this understanding of it, keeping it short, I want to go through this building the whole RAG pipeline essentially. Okay, so what am I gonna do? I am actually going to download a particular file because again, I have to know something to answer. Let's say download from where? Maybe Google Drive. Okay, so let's do Drive. Oops, Google Drive. So I'm gonna go to Google Drive and do a download file. So, and we have gone through these things, how to create a Google Drive credential, because you actually have to create an OAuth a security key, and you kind of like have to do that credential here. So again, this is where you add the credential. You can add a new credential if you don't have one and go through this process. How do you know the process? We have gone through that. You can look into our previous videos, and this is exactly what you can do is Google Drive credential and just follow this direction. We already have it built. And now, what kind of things that we want to do? We want to actually get a file in this particular case. So what do we want to do with this? The file, I want to download a file. Now, this is a Google Drive that I connected with. This is my for N8N MD Zaman. This is a Google Drive name, and I can see all the files that I have. And I want to select a file. It should list all the files. I have uploaded some Bangladesh files like Bangladesh Bank ICT PDF file and few other things. So I just uploaded this document, which is called Prudential Regulations, Consumer Regulations. So this is a document that tells all the banks in Bangladesh how to give a loan. What are the things people need to do? So fantastic. I don't know. I figured out how we're going to read it together. This is the first time I'm doing it anyway. So as you know, I kind of like this way. So that's it. Simplistic, keeping it very, very simple. So I'm just going to execute this step. Remember, it's a chat message. And when I execute this step, I have to send a message. Hi. And it just executed. So I forgot to send the message. So what happened is that I just started with a chat message, it received it, and then again I should have done a trigger. I'm gonna remove this chat message. So we just learned one thing: you don't want to do a chat trigger, is that right? You want to do a trigger. Just I'll do a essentially execute workflow trigger. Execute workflow trigger. Give me 1 second. The easy trigger that we want is, I don't want to do any chat, I don't want to manual trigger. Okay, that's the one that I want, because I put it in chat trigger, so it was not working. I said, why is not working? We're figuring it out as we speak. So again, we're gonna run it one more time. So let me come here. The file is here already downloaded, but I'm gonna do it one more time just so that you see it. It's working. Again, troubleshooting is really important for us to understand what's going on. I don't want to give up, and you don't want to give up either. So I see that as soon as I did it, because this is a manual trigger, it just executed, it gave some times, and in the output I got the file prudential regulations consumer regulations.pdf. Alright, that's the name of the file. So now that I got the file, what do I need to do? I actually want to put that file in a vector database, and this part is extremely important for all of us to know. So what is a vector database? On the retrieval augmented generation, I take a file, I take the binary of that file and move it into a vector database. So what is vector database? We talked about that before. We break it down into various chunks, maybe a 1000 character chunk and then 200 character overlapping. And you can read up on vector a lot more, because I'm going to go through vector one more time again in a different video. But in this particular case, the vector database is taking that whole PDF file, breaking down into chunks, and save it over there. And then afterward, you save it. I'm going to show that the whole thing anyway for you, so you know I'm running it. So where am I going to put it in? There is a lot of vector database storage. Like Pinecone is very well known. If you type Pinecone, maybe that's something that we can use, but I figure out I'm gonna use maybe something else. Let's do Supabase, because Supabase is the one that I used quite a bit with you. Pinecone I already have previously used, and this is a really good use case for it. So what am I doing? I'm actually creating a vector database where I'm gonna insert some document. I'm gonna insert all these documents. So add, what are the choice we have? We have the ranking and add document to vector store. Fantastic. I'm gonna use this one, and this is my credential for Supabase. I'm just gonna show you. Let me go to supabase.com, and I'm gonna go to my dashboard, and I have a Cloud Camp. You guys are familiar with this. This is an organization. I started this RAG project, and what I did is actually I built this Supabase, a database. So how do you need to create the credential? It's very simple. You run that, you start that project, and as soon as the project says it's green, then you come and you can come to the table. You can see the tables, and you can run the SQL editor portion. However, what we need to do, we need to actually get to the API keys. So let me show you how to do this. If I go to create new credential, I need the host and I need the service role secret. Okay, so if you open up this doc and you will go to Supabase vector store, and it would actually tell you that what you can do and how where do you get that information on that various nodes, and how to set up that credential. Okay, so this is the Supabase vector node. So we created a Supabase account. Now we need to go to Supabase API. I need a host and a role. So I'll go to this API link, click that link. This is our project. And if I go to this is where you can go and get that API. And the project URL is this one. So you can copy from API settings, get that project URL, copy that, and then you go to the API key. You have to reveal it and then copy it. Boom, you are good to go at that moment. Okay, so now that I have that Supabase created, I'm just gonna close this one. I already have created that one. I'm gonna do an insert document, and let's say I have to create a database because of the fact that I don't have a database created. So how do I create a database? Let me go to the doc again, and I want to quick start setting up a vector store. Okay, very easy. You take that SQL statement, copy this one. I'm not changing whatsoever anything. Some of you are really good at SQL queries and you can read up on it, but what I'm doing here, if you look at it, create extension vector. We're going to build one. If you are adding another one, you don't have to do this particular thing. Then I'm creating a table called documents. Okay, so I'll copy this. I'll go to my Supabase, and I'm going to go to my SQL editor, and you can put it in new SQL snippet and just paste that one right here. So that would give you an ability. Once you do it, it would actually build it. You run it right from here. You can copy and paste it and run it, and you would see that particular result. And as part of that, as soon as it ran successfully, and it says no rows, but then you get to see all these documents or whatever, the new table, but there would not be anything. I've run something already, so there are some of the stuff that you get to see. But again, because right before I did it, I wanted to make sure that my credentials are working. But you have an empty document table. Now what do? I can create this, and of course from the list I have that documents. You should have it in the way that you do it. I'm not changing anything. It's an embedded batch size is 200, and only one thing I want to add an option to match my documents, and I'll tell you why it's important, because of the fact that I wanted to make sure that it doesn't go beyond that answer that and it is actually in my document. So we have to add an embedding. So now that you broke down those things into chunks in number of characters, how do I put that in? I have to change those things in numbers, and those numbers would create those embedding and save those embeddings. Okay, the vector embeddings will be saved. So let's add an embedding. For our purposes, I can use the OpenAI, and I'm using OpenAI embedding. Simple. You already know how to create an account in OpenAI. You go to let's say in OpenAI platform.openai key API keys. You go to API key, you have one, or you create a new one. As soon as you close it, you're not gonna have access to secret key anymore. So just create one and save it. So you created the credential for OpenAI. Now I have the model that I have created. Fantastic, I already have it. And then I need to do one more thing. I have to have a document loader. I have to load this document. Is a default data loader is one of them. Now here's one interesting thing. I'm not getting the data as JSON. How am I getting the data? You can see that it's coming as binary. So I have to change that from JSON to binary. And this is extremely important for all of you to understand, because format of the data is very, very important. So in this particular case, I'm going to load all input data automatically detect by MIME type. MIME type is like .pdf file, oops, this one is a PDF file. I can say that it's specific to PDF file, or I want to let it decide for itself, and I'm not changing anything. Text splitting is how big of a chunk size you want and how much overlapping you want. Typically simple is 1000 character with 200 character overlap. Okay, let's leave it right there. Not adding any options. We're keeping it very simple, but once you understand, there is a lot of possibilities what you can do with it. So now that I have actually created this Supabase store, what I'm going to do is so what did I do? I created a knowledge base, like the things that I understood, like as a new employee, like you want to start for a bank, you want to know exactly what's happening. So when people ask questions, you can answer. Is that right? That's very normal. So now that I build this one, now I have to go my second things. Again, this is the building of my knowledge base. Okay. Now what do I need to do? This is the thing. It's going to be important. I'm going to get this OpenAI embedding, but the rest of the stuff, I'll keep it as such. I'm going to have that knowledge base. I'll build the chat module right now. Okay, so this time I definitely gonna use the chat trigger. Okay, keep it very simple. I do a chat trigger, and then what do? I have to add an AI agent. You guys are familiar with the AI agent. We have built a number of these things using AI agent, and I'm just gonna I'll keep it simple. If you want, actually I'm gonna modify it a little later on, and I'll show you how to modify it. But let me keep it simple for now. I'll come back to that in a moment. So AI agent have chat module, memory, and tools. Why do I need to have the chat module? Because of the fact this is the one who would kind of like organize and put it together. So I have OpenAI. I just showed you how to do it and create one of the models from the list. I did that already. So let me just make it a little smaller, and I'm gonna move it up a little. So I have my chat model, and I'm gonna add memory. I'll show you how to add the memory as well. Let's add Postgres chat memory because we are working in Supabase. Supabase is built on top of Postgres, and I'll just keep that from again Postgres account. Let me show you how did I build it within Supabase. So if you go to Supabase per se, you go to this connect, and this is where I have built another table for chat memory. Now you can look into this. Just go to this view parameter in the session puller. So remember one thing, you come in here, instead of URI, if you go to PSQL, that would make it easy. But again, come to the session puller. This is your host. So let me go back. When I do this Postgres account, if you create a new one, it's asking for host, database, user, password. When you build that Postgres database that you remember, you have to remember your password. That's the one that you will be using. And this uses a particular port. Okay, so where do I get all this information again? I get this information from view parameters, the name of the host, the port, the Postgres, and the session. So everything that you get essentially from here for your particular project and your data. So again, you come here, go to this connect, and from there on you'll find this information. Supabase has so many features. I intend to create a full-blown video only for Supabase, but today we're going to be building this RAG. Okay, so give me 1 second. I'll close this up. I'm going to get this Postgres account, and I created a table called NA10 chat histories. So, and I'm keeping 5 meaning that it's going to remember 5 of them. If I want, I can remember more as well. So whatever the conversation I had, if I don't have any memory, it's going to forget. So it will not know any context of it. So I got that. Oops, sorry, not this one. This Postgres chat memory. Okay. And let me just make it a little easy for all of us to look at it. Move it up a little bit. Memory. And then I need a particular tool. What tool should I use? Supabase, of course, because that's what we're using. So I'm gonna use that Supabase. In this particular case, I'm gonna retrieve it. Automatically it gave me retrieve as tool of AI agent. Fantastic. And again, I can put some description right here. So I can say like, call this, it says that work with your data in Supabase vector store. Yeah, as simple as that. You can keep that, work with the data, or let me write a little bit better, like I'm just gonna write it like only use the knowledge base that you have. Okay, so call this tool to look up the info from the knowledge base. Don't go to internet. If you don't know, if you don't have the information, say I do not know. I'm just giving that particular thing. The make sure that it doesn't have to, it's just a description of it, is that right? But I wanted to keep it very descriptive so that every time that we go do these things, it becomes super easy for people to understand in terms of documentation. Okay, so I'm gonna go to this table, and this is from the documents. Remember, we created the document. I'm gonna include the metadata as well, and I'm just gonna leave it as is. And what am I gonna do with the embedding? Now, instead of picking another one, I'm just gonna drag and connect to the same embedding that I have created. See, that's super easy. Now I can actually organize it, create like a nice way to write something and do this stuff, create those amazing boxes. So we can do that, but again, for now I'm just showing you the functionalities at this moment. So what have we done so far? We have created a knowledge base into Supabase vector store. We are keeping the memory, like what chat conversation we're having, into the Postgres chat memory. And now we're gonna ask a questions and we would retrieve that answer from that knowledge base that we have created, because it's already in Supabase right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go to chat and ask that question, like, how do I get a loan? Okay, I'm just asking a simple question. Let's look at it, what kind of questions that I see here. So it's actually going through this process right now, and give me 1 second. So getting a loan, generally there are several keys, check your credit score. Okay, all of these things. Now I want to get it from my data that I have provided. The embedding OpenAI, it didn't have the whole I have not executed the whole workflow yet. So I'm going to execute this workflow executed. I have downloaded the file. Oops, I pinned it. Unfortunately, I have to remove that one. See, this is another problem that I had because of the fact that I pinned it, so that is not happening. So now that I have all the data, I took the data. I'm getting into my embedding in this OpenAI. What happened in previously, it went right here. I want to make sure that I provide really good context. So what do I do normally? You remember what I did before? I create these things. I provide ChatGPT the context of it, and ChatGPT would actually give me a particular prompt. So I have created some of the prompts from ChatGPT. I asked that this is what I have. This is called prudential regulation. Let me just write it down. I'm gonna do a system message, and I will write this system message. I'll show you in detail what the system message I've written. You're a helpful assistant. Nope, I'm gonna remove this. You are a domain expert, AI assistant specializing in banking and consumer financing regulations in Bangladesh. You have access to the knowledge base and include the prudential this issued by Bangladesh Bank, first edition 2004. When answering, provide accurate, concise response source directly from the document. Or do not go to internet. And if you do not have information, say I do not have that info. Okay, so I don't want this to go back. Okay, then always specify relevant regulation section. Fantastic, really good job. You saw that first thing I wanted to show you. When I type it, it didn't work. Fix the problem. When I typed it, it gave me went to internet, found something, even though I told him not to. But because of the fact it didn't have a proper system and user prompt. So I wanted to make sure that I give him proper system and user prompt and reference it. If the user asks for procedure, limit definitions or compliance requirement, respond step by step. If the answer is not explicitly found, state not found in the regulation. Instead of guessing, don't guess anything. For context-based question, summarize only relevant clauses. Do not repeat entire section. This could be a really large section. I want to give precise answer. Okay, so I got the system prompt already. Now I'm going to do the user prompt. So in the user prompt also I created from ChatGPT. I asked that build me a good user prompt. So if you want to see it, so this says that please retrieve information from prudential regulation consumer financing PDF regarding this. Okay, now what I want to do is I don't have any chat when a chat trigger, so I'm gonna execute that previous node, and then I'll find something and then I will enter it right here, okay, as a JSON file. I can type it up or make it easy for all of you. I'm just gonna show it. Execute previous nodes, and I will say, let's say home loan. So it came home loan, is that right? So what I'm gonna do, because it doesn't have any context to it, how do I get that? Is the question is hold on 1 second, JSON input. When chat trigger is received, give me 1 second. I am going to get that chat trigger right here, JSON chat input. Okay, I'll just paste it right here, JSON chat input. Okay, when the chat message is received, chat input home load. Oh, okay, typed something wrong. Okay, let me go back here. I'm just gonna go chat message is received in Postgres chat memory. I have some error. Let me fix that Postgres chat memory error. JSON session ID. Give me 1 second. It should get a session ID. No session ID found. So I have to give it a session ID for this. I'll execute this. I want to know more about home loan. So I have done this right now. Now I have the session ID. Now I have all the components, and let's see what's happening. So let's see if it did it. Remember, the prompts were so important. If I have not provided proper prompt, it would not have answered. And remember, in Postgres, it's already looking for a session ID. It didn't have that session ID. All those things had to be fixed before you do it. Again, you're gonna run into troubleshooting. You can ask these questions and you can get those answers. So it says, I want to know more about home loan. The Prudential Regulation for Consumer Financing, that's the name of the document that we found, provide relevant information about home loans, primarily related to security and loan feature. So hypothecation over asset to be purchased is involved, indicating home itself serves as a collateral. So you're buying a home, the home itself is a collateral. So it tells you all those information, and which you like. So it says specific section titles, regulations. You can see this guides and security clause and such. I can try to locate this exact regulation number. Okay, give me the page number of the doc you found this info. Okay, so I'm asking it to, okay, give me the page number of the doc you found that information. So it says, yeah, in this particular document on page 59 of the document that I found that information. So this is interesting because of the fact I can refer to it. This is my document. How can you use it? Let's say you are providing selling something and customers are calling. From what time to what time you are open? So you have a document. People are not reading that document. They just want to ask these questions. Okay, so I can start getting all these response. You can see I get this response for specifically very complex line. Again, all of these documents have reference point and a knowledgeable person, like a customer support person. We call it a AI agent as an employee, and they are working 24/7, and they're able to take a lot of messages. So simply speaking, we just build this particular one using some Postgres just to keep that memory, the Supabase for the vector store, and downloaded a file from Google Drive. So this is really good because a lot of time I need some information on my personal stuff, and I want to go back and I put that in a Google Drive, and I collect all this information from there. Okay, so with that, we're gonna finish up here today. Hope You get to see that I do it very scrappy way. Even if I prepare a little bit, but I want to build it ground up with you. And if you run into problem, I would run into that problem, and we run into the problem, we solve the problem. Okay, so with that, you learned the basics of RAG, and RAG is one of the most and the best use case for AI. So we talked about content generation before. You collected content and you generated a content for various social posts. This RAG is actually enterprise ready. You can use it for enterprises. You know how to build this with NA10, with Supabase, with Postgres as a memory and the tools. So with that, let's build something amazing, and always look for making a positive impact for this world and the world hereafter. Okay. So with that, thank you very much. I'm Mohammed Zaman from Bright by Next. I want to thank all of you to listen to me, and let me know if there is something else you want me to build. Then I'm gonna try to build those things.